October 14th, 9:41 AM, District Court Defendant Lobby number 4. Hello everyone, Triple S back here with some more Finish Wright, Ace Attorney, Trilogy with Trials and Tribulations on the case of Stolen Turnabout. We're now going back into the courtroom, and it's going to be a two-part courtroom thing. I think this one's hopefully going to be pretty short. It seems like it's not very long. Then the next time will be the final episode of this case. So let's go. Hey Nick. What is it this time? You won't believe how many people are here for the trial. Well, it is a murder case. What are you talking about? They're here for the trial next door. Next door? Why don't you know this, Nick? They're having Detective Atmay's trial today. Detective Atmay? They say they're going to try him as Master Mask. Already? That was fast. Boy, I'd love to see Master Mask's trial. I know. By the way, where's Pearls? Oh, she went back home. She said she can't neglect her training anymore. I know you don't like me. Pearls has really gotten into her training lately, huh? Yep, ever since that incident last year. Please! Don't ignore me! Oh, Mr. Delight. Good morning. No one likes me. No one would notice me, even if I killed someone. Come on, don't be silly. Wait a sec. You don't mean you're the murderer? No, I'm just a poor thief. No, wait, that's not right. A thief can't really be poor. Now let's see, according to Mr. Delight, from his second crime on, he was following a bunch of set plans. Plans that someone had been sending to him to help him commit the heists. Do you really think there's a connection between the thief and the murder, Nick? It's possible, but today's trial is a race against the clock. Huh? How come? Let's just take our time like always. I'm afraid that's not an option. October 14th, 10 AM, District Court, Courtroom number 6. There's Goddo again. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Ron Delight. The defence is ready, Your Honour. You're ready? Preparation is the last refuge of the weak. Okay, settle down everyone. Let's begin with your opening statement, Mr. Goddo. Ugh, he's got the judge in the palm of his hand, yet again. Ron Delight is simply too young to be sent to war. That's all. I'm afraid I have no idea what that means, Mr. Goddo. Ha! Then you need to get out more, Your Honour. Life is war, but that is exactly why you must be more precise in your wording. That's all my statement means. You understand now, right? Yes, well then, let me briefly summarise the details of this case. Wow, the judge is taking charge like he knows what's going on for a change. The victim is Kane Bullard, CEO of KB Security. His body was found in a safe at approximately 9 AM on the morning of the 13th. However, the time of death was estimated as 1 AM of the previous day. And that's when our little lost kitten dropped the ball. That little lost kitten is, of course, the defendant. Very well then, Mr. Goddo, please call your first witness. I never drink more than 17 cups of coffee during every given trial, but the first one is always the best. Mr. Goddo, your witness. Okay then, let's hear what defendant Mr. Ron Delight has to say for himself. The defendant? Well, Mr. Wright, does the defence have any objections? It may be a bit of a disadvantage having the defendant testify, but I remember when Mia was defending me. She allowed me to testify so she could do the cross-examination. She put a lot of trust in me back then. We have no objections, Your Honour. The defence will allow Mr. Delight to testify. Ha! You've got guts, trite. Alright then, Mr. Ron Delight, please take the stand. You did it, didn't you? Yes. What? No, that's not true. Huh. For a moment there, I thought we'd set the record for the shortest trial ever. Well, Mr. Delight already looks plenty guilty with that face he's making. And once he opens his big mouth, he'll probably put the last nail in his own coffin. Ha! Very well. Now then, can you tell me something? If you didn't kill Bullard, why did you go to KB Security? Well, that's kinda hard to say. Boy, I wish I could go home. Now then, let's hear some testimony about what happened. Here we go. My visit to KB Security. That evening around 1 AM, I went to see Mr. Bullard in his office at KB Security. The blackmail letter I got, it ordered me to go there. I've been working for KB Security until a year ago, so I knew where his office was. 1 AM, the exact time the murder took place. The weak get washed away by the tides of fate, the strong drink it up. Ha! It's bitter today too, just like my destiny. You'd never know that from the way he's chugging it down. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you please. So first thing we're going to do is press the second statement. 1, 2, press. It ordered you there? It was the first time I'd gotten a blackmail letter that ordered me to go somewhere. Does that mean you've gotten other blackmail letters then? Oh, of course. They'd say things like, steal this or take that. Why don't you save those for later, Mr. Delight? Please don't say any more. Now, what should I do? Press harder. So what did the blackmail letter in question say? It said to bring $50,000. Money, eh? A perfect motive for committing murder. Oh, but wait! Wait! Never intended to pay that money anyway. Oh, is that right? After all, he had nothing to hold over my head. I had nothing to be afraid of. Huh. An important point indeed. Witness, let's have that added to your testimony. Yes, sir. Ha! A muddy mud skipper in outer space has a better chance of surviving than I do. The blackmail threat didn't scare me. It wasn't going to cause me trouble or anything. Actually, we don't care about this one. We go to this one and we press. You used to be a security chief for KB Security, right? Yep, that's right. A security chief? You? And yet, a year ago, you were fired without notice. Revenge for an old grudge? Perfect motive for murder, wouldn't you say? Huh. This isn't good. Maybe I should change the subject. Life after being fired, why he was fired, don't say anything. Why he was fired. Mr. Delight, please tell us why you were fired from your job. Well, the world is filled with those who have said, I wish I had never asked that. Okay, then I take it back. Defendant, please answer the question. I needed money. You needed money? Oh, well, you see, Desi loves to spend it. It's kind of her hobby. Not exactly the best hobby in the world, her neck. My salary wasn't nearly enough, so I stole data from the company. Come again? KB Security has a lot of security info on all sorts of companies. And since I was a security team chief, you stole some data and sold it. Mr. Bullard found out and I was fired immediately. What? I wish I had never asked that. I was somehow able to keep it secret and made it seem like I had quit on my own. What is it, Nick? You don't look so good. Someone who brings harm to their company is fired as punishment. You'd do well to remember that. You sure told you. So you admit that you stole data from your company, is that correct? Yes. I'm sorry. This is a very important fact. Please add it to your testimony. Ah man, this whole thing just took a big turn for the worse. Crashed and blew up. It's gonna take the jaws of life to rip this case from the clutches of disaster. You fired me for selling company secrets, but Desi doesn't know about that. Actually, we don't care about that. We go back to the blackmail threat didn't scare me. We present profiles. Desi. Or Desiree. Mr. Delight, what you said just now doesn't match what you told me yesterday. Huh? What doesn't? I think you must have been scared, very scared, of having a certain person find out your secrets. Ah! A certain person? Miss Desiree Delight, the defendant's wife. Wow, but Listen to me, my Desi, she's... Looks like if I just sit back and relax, the fun will end before it truly begins. Ah, Goddo. Yes, we know, it was all your wife's fault. What do you mean? Mr. Delight stole company data to pay for his wife's spending habit, for which he was fired. Unable to face his own wife, someone used his dirty little secret to blackmail him. And that is how this murder came about. Oh. No! Everything is falling neatly into place for him. Don't talk about my Desi like that. Oh, you'll be sorry! Well, it seems that we've learned a great deal of things here so far. What do you think, Nick? I didn't think it was possible to get so thoroughly whipped in just 20 minutes. Do you mean 10? Clearly there was sufficient motive for murder. He stole data for his wife and he killed to protect his secrets. A family man who cared just a little too much. The motive is clear. Let's move on. What happened at the crime scene at 1 in the morning, Mr. Delight? Come now, tell us. We're all ears. At the CEO's office. When I entered the office, there was a suspicious shadow there. Suddenly, I was hit on the forehead. After that, I remember being a bit dazed. If I hadn't been wearing that, I would have been killed. When I came to, Mr. Bullard was lying there, dead. I see. Suddenly hit on the forehead, huh? I believe the detective from yesterday provided similar testimony. He said that Master Mask struck him on the head from behind. Of course, since Atmay turned out to be the culprit himself, that was all a lie. Ha! No one's going to believe a pathetic lie like that. What are you saying? I really was attacked. We'll find out if what you say is true or not during the cross-examination. Got that, Mr. Trite? Don't go easy just because he's your client. If I see any sign that you are, I'll treat you to another cup of my special blend. You don't need to worry about that, Mr. Godot. I have faith in Ron. I know he didn't do it. And I hope he didn't do it. But I know he did. He didn't. I mean, okay, we've got to go to statement 3 in press. So, 1, 2, 3. If I hadn't been wearing that, I would have been killed. But what was that? Yeah. Could you please clarify what you are referring to? Why, my Master Mask costume, of course. Wait just a moment. Master Mask? Huh? Oh, did I forget to mention it before? Just to be on the safe side, I dress as Master Mask. And then I descended upon the office of the CEO of KB Security. What? Nick, did you know about this? He never told me this. I don't recall him ever mentioning it to me either. Even I didn't know that. It seems our little friend really loves to keep secrets. I'm sorry, I just never had a chance to mention it up until now. Wait. That's not right. You know how sometimes things just slip your mind? Ha! My 6th cup of coffee is staring up at me coldly. At any rate, we can't ignore this new piece of information. Witness, please correct your testimony. I'd have been killed if I hadn't been wearing my Master Mask costume. Press. Why were you dressed up as Master Mask? Why, because I'm Master Mask, of course. What are you talking about? Master Mask's trial is being held next door. Ah, yes, I guess so. Anyway, at that time, I thought I was being blackmailed over the Master Mask issue. So I thought I should go as him just to be safe. Ah, boy. Let me tell you, it's a real pain to move around with that cape. That's why it took a lot longer than I expected. Took a lot longer? What's he talking about? Oops. Press harder. What do you mean by took a lot longer? Oh, opening the safe, of course. My cape got caught on the safe door, you see? This all happened when I was hiding Mr. Bullard's body. What was that? Back up a second. Yes? You were the one that hid the body in the safe? Well, yeah. Inconceivable! Why? Just why? What reason could you have? What were you thinking? Question. When does someone toss their dirty shorts in the washing machine? What? The answer is simple. When they take them off. As usual, I have no idea what you're saying. Do you mean that Mr. Delight hid the body because he's the murderer? Ha! So you're not as stupid as you look. His metaphor this time was really obscure. Mr. Wright, you don't mean that that you knew about this whole safe business, do you? Oh, well, yes. Why am I the only one not in the loop here? Witness, make sure you add this to your testimony. Yes, sir. Uh-oh, looks like a storm front is moving in over the fair weather judge. I panicked and hid the body in the safe. It took about 10 minutes. To this, we present... wherever the heck it is. The buzzer record. Your Honour, could you please take a look at this record? And what might this be? The record for the emergency buzzer that connects the CEO's office to security. If the button in the office is pressed, the security team is supposed to come running. And according to this record, the buzzer was pushed at once at 1:02 AM. What? If Mr. Rondelite truly was the murderer, he would have ran as soon as the buzzer sounded. That's a weird way to phrase that. After all, the security guard would have been heading his way. Ha! Let's remember who we're dealing with here. You probably had no idea there were security personnel in the building. Up until 1 year ago, my client was working as a chief of security. There's no way he wouldn't have known about them. But, as it turns out, the guard never came. That was nothing more than a coincidence. The fact that the guard was the pathetic loser, who had just gotten punched in the face by his ex's new boyfriend, and wasn't anywhere in the vicinity was not something Mr. Delight could have known. Ha! Again, remember who we're dealing with here. It's a sure bet that Mr. Delight didn't even notice the buzzer going off. This buzzer is extremely loud. There is no way he could have ignored something like that. If he had been conscious, that is. Conscious? What do you mean by that? Urgh. Fine, let's hear your theory. Recall the defendant's testimony. The moment he entered the victim's office, someone attacked him. Mr. Delight said he felt dazed. I'm willing to wager that he was knocked unconscious for at least a few minutes. Unconscious? So he fainted. That's why Mr. Delight didn't know that the buzzer had sounded. And that's why he thought he had time to hide the body. So what are you trying to say? Mr. Delight was knocked out, and the buzzer went off soon afterwards. Now, unless my client was able to hit the buzzer while he was unconscious, it can only mean that there was another person in that room. That's right, whoever it was, they knocked out Ron Delight and then pressed the buzzer. Hoping to get him caught, but Larry didn't show up. Order in the court. Mr. Wright, this is preposterous. If it was this kid, Ron Delight is the one who killed Kane Bullard. Then who pressed the buzzer? It was the victim, of course. He pressed the buzzer when the defendant attacked him. He didn't die right away. He must have held on long enough to push that button. So Kane Bullard sounded the buzzer himself. What's your opinion on this, Mr. Wright? You need to prove that the real criminal was there at the scene, but how? Can I prove that it wasn't Kane Bullard who sounded the buzzer? I can prove it, alright. The defence's opinion is this, Your Honour. This piece of evidence proves that it wasn't the victim who sounded the buzzer. We're going to present the buzzer itself because it had no fingerprints. I believe this is the piece of incontrovertible evidence you were looking for. The emergency buzzer? Is there some kind of clue on it? Absolutely not. Hey, come on now. At least give some thought to what you say before opening your mouth. The fact that there are absolutely no clues is itself the clue. I'm the one who's clueless. This button has no fingerprints on it. If Mr. Bullard had really pressed it himself, naturally he would have left his fingerprints behind. Whoa! Ron Delight obviously wiped them off. Why would he? A guard could have come in at any moment. He touched that button. I know he did. The defendant, Mr. Delight, was dressed as Master Mask. And Master Mask always wears gloves. What reason could he possibly have had to wipe the button free of fingerprints? Order, order, order! Ha! It would seem... I've been forced to eat crow. I wonder what blend number crow flavoured coffee is. However, if the real killer was there at the scene, why would that person press the emergency buzzer? Shouldn't they have run away without putting themselves in extra danger? What's with this awkward silence all of a sudden? Ha! It looks like you're fresh out of parlor tricks. They're onto you, Nick. Just give me a minute to collect my thoughts. The real culprit killed Mr. Bullard at around 1 AM. And Mr. Delight just happened to waltz in when the murder was taking place, right? The killer clobbered Mr. Delight and then sounded the buzzer. Even though security was supposed to respond right away if the buzzer was pressed, security was supposed to respond, huh? Time's up, Mr. Wright. Let's hear what you have to say. Very well then. Oh, you've got some guts. I like that in an opponent. Why did the real killer sound the emergency buzzer? Did it mean to call the security guard to find out what it did? Call the security guard. The killer knew that if they pressed that button, a guard would come running. And that was exactly what they wanted. Do you mean to say the killer called the guard on purpose? Yep, although as it turned out, he never showed up. Because he was getting his clock cleaned at the time. Ha! What a touching story. You're saying the killer had a change of heart and called the guard to turn himself in? No, I'm not. When that buzzer sounded, there were three people in that office. The victim, Kane Bullard, who was already dead. The defendant, Rhonda Light, who was out cold. And the third person, the real killer. Hypothetically, yes. Now then, in this situation, if the real killer made an escape, what would happen? The only ones left in the room would be the victim and Rhonda Light. And if any security guards came running in at that time, they would think that I was the murderer. Yes, that was precisely the real killer's objective. To frame Rhonda Light for the murder. Whoa! Order, order, order! Ha! It would seem I've been made to eat my words once again. Actually, you've been made to do a spit take with a cup of coffee. Mr. Wright, who was it? Who was it that tried to frame me? Wait a second. I'm the one and only Master Mask, so... Nick, you mean the real killer is... We're going to drag that person in here right now. But, who is it? I don't have any solid proof yet, but think about it. The killer knew Mr. Delight's identity, and they also knew that he had been called to KB security that night. So the killer used him to execute a well-crafted plan to murder Kane Bullard. Now then, let's hear your accusation, Mr. Wright. Who was it that framed Mr. Ron Delight for the murder of Kane Bullard? At me. Detective Luke, at me. He's the only one who could have done it. Ace Detective Luke at me. You mean Master Mask did it? Your Honour, the person being tried in the court next to us is not Master Mask at all. He is, in actuality, the true murderer of Kane Bullard. Order, order! Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Theft and murder. Which is the more serious crime? They're not even close. Murder is the more serious crime, of course. It's a capital crime subject to a capital punishment. Please remember the trial from yesterday, if you would. When Luke Atmay confessed, there was a huge commotion in the courtroom. Of course, a famous detective was unmasked as, well, as Master Mask. Instead of being convicted of murder, he was found guilty of grand larceny. That was his true objective all along. To be found guilty, Master Mask had the perfect alibi for when the murder took place. He was stealing the urn at Lordly Taylor. In other words, being found guilty as Master Mask was Luke Atmay's airtight, watertight and unassailable alibi. A guilty verdict as an alibi? You know, it's almost time. For what? For Luke Atmay's verdict. It was a pretty simple trial after all. If we're going to stop this trial and stall that one, we need to do it now. Of course, that's assuming you have proof that the detective was the one who committed the murder. Mr. Luke Atmay's trial has indeed attracted the attention of the entire country. If he were to intrude and fail to provide adequate proof of his true crime, Mr. Delight would be left with no grounds for appeal. Am I really sure about this? Ha! A bet's only good when your life's the ante. Mr. Wright, I believe in you! Mr. Delight. So, please, I'm begging you! Thanks, but my decision will determine the rest of your life. Could I really risk your life like this? Phoenix. What was that? Don't stray, Phoenix. For your clients, take the path of trust. That voice, it sounds like... Mia! Your Honour, the defence requests an immediate recess. Ha! So that's your answer, huh? Very well, I've decided as well. This court will now take a 20-minute recess. Mr. Wright, when we return, please summon Mr. Luke Atmay to the stand. Yes, Your Honour. October 14th, 11:58 AM, District Court, Courtroom number 5. Hehehehe. Well, Sir Detective Atmay. Heh. I have to say, Mr. Payne, you performed splendidly. Oh no, Sir Detective Atmay. You were the one who... The judge's brother! That's enough! This court sees no reason to further prolong this trial. This court finds the defendant Luke Atmay... Wait! Don't hand down your verdict yet, please! Well, Sir Lawyer, welcome to my courtroom. Who's this hoser, eh? My name is Phoenix Wright, attorney at law, and I wish to file an accusation against this man, Luke Atmay. Accusation? You accuse Master Mask? That man is not Master Mask. He's just a ruthless murderer. What? To be continued! Pretty short episode right there. About half an hour, just under. So next time will be the final part of this case, and we're sending Luke Atmay back up to the stand in our courtroom, and not that one where Payne is. Screw Payne, you're out of here, you're done. And that guy was, I'm pretty sure, the judge's brother. The other judge. I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be the judge's brother. So next time we'll wrap all this up. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.